up, guys? Welcome back to WCS America. I'm axeltoss, joined by axslav. We're watching the Challenger League, Week 1, Day 2. Of course, we've gone through 6 matches already. Of course, finding out which players are going to stay alive in the Challenger League and which are going to drop down to the group stage of the Challenger League, at least stay alive in the bracket stage. Right now, we're watching Minigun versus Ian, and Ian is currently up 1-0. Both players are ready. I'm going to start the game.
And that was a very convincing first game win.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you see a Zerg win a game and only lose like 2 units? Like, I mean, sometimes you see a perfect game from a Protoss, like an Oracle runs in there, kills everything, or a Terran just catches their opponent off guard with a Banshee. But I've almost never seen a game that perfect with a Zerg besides maybe like a 6-pull drone pull and ZVZ and opponent just gives up before you even see it coming. But yeah, it just totally caught Minigun off guard, and he just had 1 cannon, 2 gateway units, just basically died as soon as the roaches showed up at his base. A really, really cool build.
Do you think it was a reaction to seeing the 2 gases? Because
I don't know.
maybe he sees the 2 gases, like, okay, so my opponent's teching up. What he's going to have when I'm hitting with all these lings and roaches?
Yeah. I
right?
mean, you can usually, I mean, it's either going to be fast Robo, or it's going to be Stargate. And if they're going for that, the 2-base Colossus, which is very popular there, the Tommy might hit before 2-base Colossus really kick. Although they probably have more sentries, and it really relies on a Mothership Core not being back at home, I think, as well. Anyways, on to game 2.
Indeed.
Of course, at the bottom left-hand location, we had the man who was caught very off guard in that first game and pretty much crumbled to that early attack, Minigun. And his opponent, at the top right, the Taiwanese Zerg, Ian.
Of course, on the team, Yo, Iron Man.
That's I love that team name, Yo Iron Man.
I still haven't seen Iron Man 3, which makes me a little sad.
It was better than 2.
You saw it?
Yes.
Without me?
Yes, I did see it.
Whatever,
without
man.
You were in Texas, man.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't have time to see it. One day I will, and I will think of our Zerg player, Ian, when I'm watching.
Minigun deciding the Forge Expo was his downfall last game. Going for a gateway expand.
Ah.
On Daybreak, you know, Daybreak's one of the maps, I don't know. I feel you don't even see Daybreak too much in PvZ anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of the maps that the gateway expands may actually not be quite as good as the Forge expands, just because it's harder to cross the map and put on that pressure. Mothership Core takes a while to cross the map, so do Zealots. And of course, it's harder to really take advantage of the map control. When you have map control early as Protoss, and you push the Zerglings away from the front of your base, right? You do to a Stalker, Zealot, etc. It often gives you the opportunity to get a probe in a hidden spot. But on Daybreak, there's not really that many spots to hide pylons, especially with the way all the overlords are. He's just trying to mind game, yeah.
I just saw a funny tweet there at the bottom. Mouse Illusion said, "No more messing around. This land is my land."
Nice.
Of course, he's on Twitter at Mouse Illusion. He just took out
Max set 2-0.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the players coming in from Korea and China haven't had quite the same success that a lot of people anticipate them to just walk over the American competitors. But you know, Theognis Vibe.
I know they're really
Illusion.
good friends, Theognis and Illusion.
Yes. And they're both standing up well.
Yep. Pretty cool. All right. So we got an early gas here from Ian. Of course, it's pretty standard once you scout that there's no that the expansion is delayed. Because you want to get some speedlings out to get take back map control from your opponent, making sure no stalkers do anything scary.
Minigun's doing something unusual. Well, it's not like a big difference, but he actually got that Mothership Core before the Nexus, which it affects the economy quite a bit, because he only had 13 probes on minerals just because he can't build probes and getting that Mothership Core for quite a while. And he's getting out early, which means that he will have more energy on that. This could be a reaction, actually, to what we saw last game. He's like, well, I want to make sure I have like 200 energy by the time that attack I did. I don't want to have like 150. I want to have 200 so I can have double photon overcharges just in case I need them. And so we want to get out extra early here. We'll see if that pays off. On the other hand, Ian doing a different build. Well, most likely a reaction to gateway expansion, just getting the speed before the third base.
Twilight Council going down here.
Oh no! If Ian, okay.
Oh, the link side?
I don't think he saw it.
I
don't think he saw it. We'll have to see here. The Overlord might come back in later and
he didn't see it.
Yeah.
But like again, that's a place that an Overlord can sneak in and see pretty easily. I think it's really hard to hide tech on Daybreak.
It is. It's almost a guessing game on both sides. Which way
Sure.
will the Overlord go?
What does he do with this? Going down the dark shrine?
Yeah, I assume. Well,
He doesn't have a lot of money right now, so.
yeah, I assume it would be more likely DT. This is actually a build I just saw being used by SOS in the GSL round of 8.
Spoilers.
It's an awesome build.
I haven't seen that much yet.
Well, I'm not going to tell you who won, but I'm going to tell you this is the exact same build SOS did in one of the games.
That's fair.
It's a really cool build because the gateways actually come up so fast. And the idea is you sell the Zerg, it's a 4-gate, and they keep getting roaches and speedings, and then all of a sudden DTs come in, and hopefully the Zerg isn't ready for it. So it comes down to scouting. Another cool part is you don't get a 3rd and 4th gas. And so a lot of Zergs, they'll just have the Overlord keep an eye on your 3rd and 4th gas.
Yep.
And then they'll assume if you're only on 2 gas, they're doing some gateway pressure or a fast 3rd base, and they won't think about the tech.
Overlord's going to see it.
Oh, it is going to... There should have been a Stalker there. I guess he was using it to fill in the wall instead of the Zealot. And that's actually going to come back to haunt them because...
There it is.
This is a... Oh, this is so unfortunate for Minigun. Yeah, he saw everything. And this is a really rough spot because...
Oh, he lost a Stalker. Well, the good news is he has a pylon across the map, about to get finished up. The bad news is the Spore Crawler is in production there at the natural.
There's actually double good news, and that's the fact there's no roaches in production. This is interesting. So the way to counter this build is you just get a bunch of roaches and a Spore Crawler, you defend, and then you just deny the Protoss 3rd base, because it's hard to take a 3rd base behind this build against speed roaches unless you do a lot of damage with the DT. So now there's 8 roaches in production, but it's...
As long as
actually,
Minigun's...
they're perfectly timed, except the DTs actually... They're detected, but they're still killing a lot of drones just because there's nothing to kill them. So
Alright, we got a DT in the main. We have a DT in the natural expansion. The 3rd base was cleaned up. The units there, at least.
There we go. DT in the naturals. He's losing a lot of mining time. I think he mistimed the roaches by about 10 seconds or so there. And I mean, he microed the drones very well, so he's not... you know, he's not being crippled by this or anything, but...
I'm a little surprised he didn't take some swipes at that hatchery at the 3rd. I guess he just wants to get those DTs out. That's fine. Because I don't think he would have killed the hatchery.
No, and halfway killing it just
doesn't
make too much of it. So, of course, Minigun realizing the weakness of this build is it's very hard to defend a 3rd from speed roaches if you try to take it right behind when all you have is... You don't have blinker charge, right?
Right.
You just have basic gateway units. So you're not even going to have a very high sentry count either. So he's going for a Blink Stalker all-in follow-up. Still no Forge, which is I think is correct. I forget it's going to go this type of time. I mean, you're not going to get +2 and spending the money to get a Forge and a +1 upgrade is not worth as much as getting.
Is this what SOS did in?
The game went completely differently, but no, he did a different type of follow-up.
Okay.
I don't know if I should. It was an awesome game. Go check it out.
Okay, I'll watch it.
It was awesome in a couple
of
ways. So
I'll watch it tonight for sure.
I think it was on Star Station, I believe.
Okay.
So looks like there we go.
Hi, Nick.
Well,
All right,
I think the game's still on, so we can take the feed from your computer.
We had a little bit of a hiccup there.
Yeah.
So
there we are. Back. It looks like you'll be the observer for now.
Nope, I don't think I am.
No, you're not. We're back up to the... Okay.
Mr. Marcus is still observing for us.
Nice. Awesome. So going forward, this is obviously a 2-base Blink Stalker all-in. And, you know, it's going to come down to the fact that roaches have speed, but there's not insane creep spreads. It's going to come down to micro here.
All right, let's see what happens here. Minigun charging towards that 3rd base. He's pretty all in here. Getting no probes in production. Wants to kill his opponent. Has an Archon mixed in. Guardian Shield going down. The Force Shields have to be good, and they're almost really good.
If he could have trapped 7 roaches, and then that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
As it is, it was not amazing. Only getting 2 Zergians and 1 roach maybe there. But, you know, Ian has very few units.
Those are great time warps there from Minigun, slowing those units down.
And those
More
are great
Force Shields going down. Remember, these Stalkers have Blink. Minigun. Gotta blink back those weakened units. Every single unit is so important when you're doing an all-in like this, trying to break his opponent at the 3rd base. 20 Lings in production, 3 Roaches in production, as well as +2 missile, but no answer thus far here. Trying to stay away from the Time Wars, trying to stay away from the Force Fields. Minigun running out of energy on these sentries. Does Ian have enough to stop this?
I think there's too many Stalkers. The Stalkers said it's turned critical mass where there's not enough Zerg. Oh, amazing Force Fields by Minigun, actually getting a lot more hits on his roaches as well. But I think he's at the point now where he has more stalkers than there are roaches on the field. And once you hit that point, with good blink macro, you actually lose nothing. And we're seeing this happen. Not a single stalker is going down except for the one that charged on move command forward. Yeah.
Thought it was a zealot.
But he actually has to make sure he's killing roaches as well. You don't want to let the roach pack get too big.
And you don't want +2 missile to finish either. That would make this a lot easier for Ian. But still so many units here from Minigun. Taking down roach after roach. 18 lings in production here for Ian. And I think Minigun might be able to make this work. Is there a chance that Ian can just fall back to his natural and defend from there?
Not with the amount of units he's lost right at this point.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the tech to deal with blink stalkers in a cost-efficient manner. So I think he has to defend the third. Now the third's dead. Minigun can back up. And the fact is that Ian only has 2 hatcheries, or sorry, actually has 3 hatcheries. So he has a decent amount of larvae, but only 2 bases of economy. It's going to be very difficult to produce. You need to be like 20, 30 food up at least if you're going mass roaches, and you just can't do that on 2 bases.
A +2 missile is about to finish here for Ian. Remember, Minigun doesn't have any upgrades on his stalkers. But
the mothership cords, they already survived.
Gosh, so close to dying there, down to 2 HP. And now Minigun coming for the natural expansion, trying to take this game 2 and even up the series, and looking good so far. Ian sending in all of his lings, roaches, even pulling some drones to deal with this. The spy crawlers running up there, trying to get burrowed.
They're
But
hugging the
Minigun
stalkers.
preventing that from happening. And I think Minigun might be able to do it. Ian holding on though. He's way on top of his injects. I don't think he's missed an inject.
No, he's been very good on it. The Queen of the Main leaves very low on energy with the 2 hatcheries here. One of the Naturals a little bit more. But now there's just
too much.
It's a game of math, right? 30 stalkers beats 4 roaches.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you have 2 upgrades and they have none. Speeding's there with no blink cooldown, get a few kills. Maybe a little bit of sloppy from Minigun to blink aggressively, thinking he has that at once. So
it's like dropping the mules.
Yes.
You're blinking aggressively.
Yes. I mean, it costs you a little bit of resources, or you lose the mules, or the Protoss takes a few losses. But just saying, I've got more guys. You're dead. You know what was interesting there is Ian scouted the Dark Templar.
Yeah.
They still did a lot of damage. He only lost 3 Dark Templar. He got 9 drone kills, and he forced a ton of lost mining time. And what happened is Ian built spores, in fact, earlier they needed to. So he overreacted in that regard, and then he didn't build any units. So
yeah,
he could see the DTs, but one queen can't kill DT very fast. So he lost a lot of mining time just running drones in circles while he was trying to get those roaches out there. And that created a situation where he was only like 130 food when that 8-gate Blinkstalker hit. Whereas,
right.
I mean, really, against a Protoss at 110 with Blinkstalkers and 7, 8 centuries, the Zerg wants to be like 160. So there's not enough roaches.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different, like, you can scout it all you want, but if you don't react appropriately, it can still be a very difficult game. And of course, incorporating the Archons later in that push as well, I think was pretty instrumental. But yeah, Minigun able to tie up the series 1-1. Guys, you're watching WCS America Challenger League day number 2. Minigun is 1 win away for advancing on, as well as is Ian. The series is tied up 1-1. We'll be back with game 3 after a quick break.